Hello, hello, and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Titan Talk. I'm Isaiah, and Kilgoon is with me as usual, and we're chilling on a Friday. Not a whole lot to cover, but we do have full update notes live on the website for Open Beta 13. We're going to scroll through those for those that missed our big show on Wednesday. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and then we've got some cool stuff to talk about after we go through update notes. Yep. But before we hop into it, I've been told that we have a very important order of business. I've been told that we owe chat a double Alani check today.
Oh no!
Because we've missed the past couple of shows.
I forgot, and I have made a mistake.
Oh no!
Hold on, I'm gonna go get an Alani. I'll be right back.
Oh man, well I've got Orange Kiss. We'll see what Kilgoon grabs whenever he comes back. What a way to start the show! I love it. Chat, how y'all doing? You all chilling today? Shotgun 2 Alanis. No, that is way too much caffeine. Cannot do that. Kilgoon was like, oh, I don't know.
Chat.
Oh, no.
They're out of Alani.
We're out. Did I grab the last one?
There's no Alanis.
I could have sworn there were more.
There
oh,
are
my goodness.
none in the fridge. What the heck?
No.
I could have gotten like a C4 or a Celsius.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Oh, my goodness.
Now we just have to do like a triple Alani check on Monday or something. I grabbed the LaCroix, whatever, and I couldn't remember why. And I walked back out there. There's no Alani.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry, guys.
Yes. We'll make it up for you on Monday.
Yeah, triple Alani check on Monday.
Kilgoon has to shotgun 3 Alanis on Monday.
Oh, God, I would die. I would die. That much caffeine. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, man.
Sorry for the crazy start to a Titan Talk.
Oh, man, I love it. Well, let's hop right into Open Beta 13 update notes. Like I said earlier, they're live now on the website, SMITE2.com.
Oh, I do have one thing that we changed in live.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about it.
We haven't actually told anybody other than like 2 people in the ambassador chat. We changed the timer for backfilling. So that it now will stop after a minute rather than previously the max you could wait for a backfill is 4 minutes. We did some research and we found that basically like 90% of backfills that were going to backfill were happening within a minute. And it was just leading to people who were waiting to have to wait a long time for a backfill that wasn't going to work. And this disproportionately affected certain people that are harder to find backfills for their matches, usually because they're high elo in that or low elo in that queue. But so you will no longer be stuck for a 4-minute backfill when somebody fails to join. At most, it'll be a minute, and then you will queue again. So just a small change. Appreciate. I think Apwash and Luna brought it up in the Discord. If it was somebody else, I'm sorry. But yeah, we were able to dig into that, and our matchmaking engineer Greg was able to make that change, and yeah, so it should be good now.
That's sick. Sweet. Well, let's dive into Open Beta 13 notes, shall we? Reminder, chat, Open Beta 13 goes live next Tuesday, not next Monday. We've talked about it a couple times on the show, but we're just shifting back our dev schedule a day just to make, better quality of life for the team, give us a little bit more time after we branched it, determine what's going to be in the update, and give us a little bit more time to, polish some things up before we ship.
Yep.
We have got Mercury, the new ported god, the star of the show in this update. Melee basic attacks, lots, not crazy +1s for Mercury, but a lot of nice quality of life stuff, right, Kilgoon?
Yeah, it should just, he should just feel good. There's a lot of like visual improvements in the way that like his animations and his effects look and the model and all that. And like, I think that he'll feel better from that perspective. And then in terms of actual like gameplay changes, you can now get, your passive stacks if you move while you're jumping, which is a very minor thing, but it's nice. Your ability 1 can both apply on hit and like basic attack item effects and ability item effects.
And crit.
And crit. So you build a lot of different ways to charge up your 1, and it's kind of fun. 2 is the same as it always was. The 3 you can cancel early if you just want to throw the person, which is kind of interesting. And then for your ult, you gain movement speed based on how long you were channeling your ult when you use it. So you can channel it up really long and then try and run into a wall right behind the person to get the maximum, movement speed. And movement speed translates into power for Merc. So this is like you get stronger the more you channel it as well. Or you can, just use it to get to your target when you miss because you didn't aim so well. So different fun things you can do.
Yeah. Sweet. So that is our ported god coming into the battleground with the update. We've got a couple of new travelers in this update. The first one is the Beach Girl Traveler featuring Beach Babe Aphrodite, as well as some really cool new prisms for Aphrodite. They all have unique swimsuits, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And if you purchase that premium traveler, you will unlock the classic skin for Aphrodite immediately, and it will be available for anyone who doesn't unlock the traveler for 100% legacy gems after the traveler goes away.
Yep.
And the same applies for the Chef Special Traveler featuring Chef Special Kepri. Lots of really cool prisms for this one. The Razzle Shade is my favorite. He's got the rainbow kind of colors going on.
It's feels like I'm looking at a gamer PC. Yeah. You know, it's got the
RGB lights. Yeah. And then lots of other cool prisms like modeled after like real world rare lobsters.
I didn't even realize there's a Grill Master badge.
Yeah,
I
Grill
compare
Master
that with
badge.
my #1 dad badge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, then I just need like a farting badge, and then it's like peak dad, right?
And then you've got the chef title that you can equip there as you're cooking on the battleground, making some plays. So it's going to be super sick. Other new skins and cosmetics in the update. Trash Goblin Scylla is the latest cross-gen skin coming to the update. That also features 3 new prisms that are really cool. And then we also have an Independence Day event in Open Beta 13. I believe that the event is just, they're going to be fireworks sprinkled throughout all of the maps, and then you can interact with them to set off some fireworks on the battleground. And if you set off all the different colors of the fireworks, you get the GG in Freedom colors global emote, which is cool.
Yeah, it should be fun. The fireworks are very loud right now, so I'm hoping we can get the volume turned down before the patch goes live.
Just a little bit.
But, other than that, it's a fun little event.
Sweet. All right. This is probably the biggest section of the update notes. Quality of life and new player improvements. So, Kilgoon, talk to me about everything that's going on here.
A lot of stuff.
There's a lot.
A lot of stuff. So we have upgraded our engine to Unreal Engine 5.5. Most players, we think at this point, will feel some various performance improvements. It's not going to be everybody, but we think most people will see improvements. One thing that we have noted, which I call out specifically here, on Xbox in particular, the match lobby sucked, and it was like really slow. And you would click on Kakudi and Amir was the worst offender, and the whole lobby would look like it was running at like 10 frames per second. And it just runs fine now. So that's just one of the areas where you'll notice some performance improvements. This is also just like a big back-end improvement for us, so should help us working going forward as well. So.
Next up is another big one. The play button and the Q screen have gotten some visual updates. We showed it off on our Wednesday show, but just a lot more clear for the flow to get into a match, right, Kilgoon?
Yeah, and it's easier to see what the cues are, how they divide into different categories. Really easy to one-click navigate through. Well, I guess it's two-click navigate through for most cues. And then it hides custom cues a little bit, whereas before the UI was like mostly focused on custom queues, and this led a lot of new players to be confused and think that they should be playing custom matches and not queuing for one of these queues.
All right, next up, new hit markers and kill markers have been introduced. Kilgoon, talk about these.
Yeah, so in pretty much every modern game, when you shoot something, you get like flashes of like, I made contact, and there's a corresponding sound effect. Smite never had this because Smite kind of predated this as being a notion that was common in most video games other than like COD back then, right? So nowadays, pretty much every game had it. We just never had it. Now we do. Kill markers are another thing that a lot of modern games do. I'm not going to quote them all, but most modern games will do this, where when you get a kill, you get a special treatment in the middle of your reticle. So you know that you killed somebody even if you're not looking directly at them, right? And it's kind of like a double confirmation because you're still going to get the accolades and everything. But it's just that extra little like dopamine and confirmation of what you've done. So I think things should be good. We do have the audio in for hit markers now, but I think Kellen might still be tweaking it a little bit. But it's, first out, we'll continue to improve this. And you can turn this off under usability dynamic aim reticle. This didn't work in the first PTS, but it does work now.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, speaking of aim reticles, we've got some new options for reticle treatment in Smite 2. So we've got options to change the color of your reticle, to change the thickness, and then we've also made a setting for aim reticle visibility, basically whether or not your reticle is hidden while you have a targeter up for an ability.
Exactly. And we've always hidden it in Smite, but some people, especially with the new action cam, really prefer having that up so that they can see where the center of their screen is more easily while they're doing that. Somebody says, this is something we already talked about, so I'm going to loop back on this real quick. For the prism, for the prism white sands, can the prism color effect that goes on the card art be pink, please? We actually have unique card art for all of the prisms.
Yeah,
in this
I wasn't
patch,
sure
I
if it
believe.
was done yet, so I didn't pull it and put it in the notes. But I'll go and double check with the art team, and if it's done, I'll throw it up in patch notes. That way people can see it.
So you'll be able to see the actual what the skin looks like and not just the color treatment.
That's it.
And I think our goal is to do that for all prisms going forward. So
Nice, that's awesome. Speaking of visual improvements, the God Lobby has gotten some changes here. We've done a pass and recentered all the characters in the God Select lobby just to make it look a little bit more presentable and better.
yeah, and we're kind of still tweaking those a little bit. They might change a little bit going into the next patch again, but it should, generally speaking, they should fill the space better, should look better overall.
Yep.
And then this is like the first step towards some more lobby visual feedback improvements that we have planned, but I don't want to go too hard on those because we'll see as they come in.
All right, next up, audio improvements. A few things here. We've made some changes to basic attack hit attenuations. Basically, you should now hear, if you hit someone, you should be able to hear that hit at full volume, even if you're at max distance. Currently, if you're at max distance, that volume is a little bit lower. So we're making a change to just have better audio feedback if you're hitting somebody.
Yeah, I think one of the big, like, we tested with some new people, and one of the really consistent pieces of feedback we got was that, like, basic attack audio in particular was almost like imperceptible to people, and they didn't know. They were like, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything because there wasn't that strong audio feedback to it. So all three of these address that. Different parts of that. The first part is that you didn't hear things that were far away. The second part is that the way that the sound was balanced in SMITE 2, which was not the way it was done in SMITE 1, is that your enemies were louder than you were to yourself. And that's been changed now, so you should always be the loudest thing.
Nice.
So you can tell what you're doing or feel what you're doing better through audio. And then we are also just looking at the general basic attack sound effects. And Amir had a pass in this update, so tell us what you think about Amir's basic attacks, and we're planning to kind of do the same thing over time to all of them.
Cool. Next up, a couple of things for enemies. Enemies that you are now targeting now only have a red outline. Previously, they were filled with red, which kind of obscured the models. Note that enemies you can see through walls will still be filled with red.
Yeah, hard to see them through walls if it's just the outline we found. So we thought it was better to have, seeing the whole model in red through walls. But if you just see it, direct with your hovering them like you could basic attack them, they'll just be outlined now.
Yeah. And then the second one is we added hit reaction coloration to the game. So now if you hit an enemy, there will be a brief flash of white over their character model just to give you more visual feedback if you hit that person or not. And I know we've gotten a lot of people ask, yes, you will be able to turn this off in the settings menu if you're just not jiving with it.
Yep, and we're continuing to kind of tweak the exact treatment of that too. So it should be a little bit less intense than when we first looked at it. We might continue to make further tweaks in that direction. We'll see how it goes, but let us know what you think of it.
Cool. Oh, you're good. Next up, friend login notifications. You should now be notified when someone on your SMITE 2 friends list logs on.
Yep.
Just to, hey, that's my buddy. Let's hit the cues.
Yeah, let's play after this one.
We've added a new feature to message Steam friends from the friends list. So a new button allows you to easily send a message to a Steam friend using the Steam overlay from the SMITE 2 friends list.
Yeah, and there is a Steam restriction where you can only send messages to people that either are your Steam friend or you're in the same community group, basically. Okay. So you can, basically, if you're just friends with somebody on SMITE 2, you won't be able to send them a Steam message, but it does make it easier to communicate with people like, who are out of game or, who are in a match that you want to send them a message to play later or something.
Cool. All right, next up, party management. Looks like I grabbed or haven't updated my copy paste. There are some party management improvements for the update.
Killjoon, TLDR, the biggest one is that you can invite to party from the end of match lobby. You click on the 3 dots in the scoreboard, and one of the options you can click on there now is invite to party. And then there's other things that you can do if you have people in your party. I believe you can kick them from your party if they're in your party, and there's some other things that are there. But the one that probably will be used the most is inviting people to party from in a match lobby.
Cool. And I will grab that updated text from our internal doc after the show and update notes on the website.
Yeah, sorry, I did that one last minute.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Not last up. We still got a lot more to go. Damage number improvements up next. So placement and visibility have been updated for better gameplay clarity, and there's a new setting to scale the size size of floating damage numbers in the UI settings.
Yeah, I believe that the current scale is the biggest, so really you can only scale them down, but you can change their size.
Yeah, cool. We've added 2 new bots that have been introduced to co-op and AI modes. Medusa and Ganesha are now bots that you can now play with or against if you're playing in those bot matches. And I said it before, but the Medusa bot is crazy
Really good. Surprisingly good.
Next up, purchase buttons have been updated for skins and cosmetic content to provide better clarity on what currency is being used and savings from a full diamond price.
Yep. It should just basically like the button will have like, it just looks better. You'll see it when you do it. It's harder to explain than it is to see.
Yep. Next up on the home screen, the rotators have been improved for better clarity and navigation. New arrows have been added to make it easier to cycle through the panels, and the selection pips have been made larger. Just so if you're going through the panels and you see something that may have changed immediately, just super easy to go back and forth between the panels to check things out.
Yep.
And then last but not least, we've added more close buttons to menus that didn't have close buttons before. The acquisition pop-up and daily login screens now have those.
We think that every screen and subscreen now has a close button. If you see one that doesn't have a close button, please let us know, because there's a chance that we missed one, but we think we are done with that pass now. So,
cool. All right, next up under general, we've been doing a pass on all of these, but Kepri is next in line for an ability targeter upgrade. So if you're playing Kepri, let us know your feedback on those new targeters. Under gameplay, New Wa has an aspect that is shipping in Open Beta 13, but coming on July 8th, the week after we release. And it is really good. Kind of leans her more into the carry role.
Yep.
She's going to be able to fire those basic attacks and remain stealth if she's in her mysterious fog. Her ultimate can now crit and proc basic attack item effects. There's a lot of other stuff. I've heard through the grapevine that based off PTS testing, it might be seeing a slight nerf before we go live.
I believe that they were looking at nerfing it before it goes live.
Yeah.
It was very good. So,
but yeah, I saw some people one-shotting with her in PTS last night, which was really cool. Next up, let's talk about game modes, shall we? And the big one here, we've got new Quickplay Arena. Kilgoon, for those that missed the show on Wednesday, talk to us about what Quickplay Arena is.
Yeah, Quickplay is kind of overall a new category of a new way of playing Smite that is kind of like an experimental queue where we're going to test some new, bigger changes to the way that the game is played, with the goal of overall providing faster, more action-packed matches, and then also testing some new things that may be good for new players, or maybe are things that we think would be good for both new players and existing players, but we don't want to just roll out everywhere. You know, we need a place to test it. So, it's kind of like experiment plus fast is the best way to describe it.
Sweet. So the first thing that is different in Quickplay versus Classic, roguelike item buildings. This is a new thing that we're testing out, to where basically we've changed the flow of building items kind of in a new way for new players to better introduce them to the item system and help them find the fun in choosing items and kind of crafting their build as the game goes on.
Yeah. So basically, you at the beginning of the match, you're presented with a choice between 3 play styles, and there's a starter that goes with that. And it's like, do you want to do ability damage? Do you want to do on-hit attack damage? Do you want to do, like, you know, it's 3 choices that make sense for that character.
Yeah.
So whatever they are. And then you click on that, and then you go and start playing the game. And then once you get enough gold to buy a tier 3, you come back to, it tells you, and you come back to base. And when you come back to base, you get a choice between 3 tier 3s that fit within that play style and be an okay thing to purchase in that slot. So it should be a much easier way to start playing, not have to worry as much about knowing what a build should be, but thinking a little bit about it and starting to appreciate why items are interesting and how they make the game fun.
Yeah.
So it should be an interesting test. You know, I think we already know some ways that we think we can keep improving it, but we're excited to see how people react to it.
Yeah. Next up, Quickplay has an all-new dodge button, which is really cool and something completely new that's been introduced into Smite. Basically, every character now has a little combat dodge. I believe the default is bound to shift on PC or cancel on console or controller.
That's correct.
And it's basically just a new way. It's on a 5-second cooldown, and just introducing a way to help you better reposition and see if we can get a little bit more the action-y feel back to Smite 2.
Yeah, and I think just basically like part of the reason why we're running this test is that it's kind of coming from two ways, right? One of them is that we got a lot of feedback from high level players that they liked like combat blink, right? Which is really what that is I want a way to reposition in combat when the moment comes up, right? But there were certain aspects to combat blink that we felt like are really hard to read from a third person action game about like where people are coming from when they just disappear and appear somewhere else in the middle of combat. And this should be easier to read as a player and understand what's going on in a way that we actually can let you do it more often, but gives you a little bit of that control, that feel. And it also just ties into like, in general, modern multiplayer games tend to give you a little bit more movement options than they did when Smite 1 came out. So we just want to test and see, is this something that is good or bad for the game? Is it something that should stay? It's great, but it should stay in Quickplay. Is it something that we want to see in Ranked Conquest? I don't know.
We'll see.
But I think that we just wanted to get it out there and let people try it. So I think it's definitely fun.
Cool. Speaking of Quickplay, a couple things going faster in Quickplay. First up, faster projectiles, but the overall pace of the game is faster too.
Yep. So you should be, in 10 minutes, kind of at the most. Hopefully, you're done with the game of Quickplay Arena, and your projectiles. You should be at full build when the game's done, and your projectiles will travel slightly faster for range basics. It's about the same as Griffin Wing Earrings, increased attack speed, just because we think that will feel a little bit better for new players potentially, while still giving you the opportunity to dodge and avoid oncoming projectiles.
All right. Next up, Action Cam is receiving 2.0. Lots of points here for this next iteration of Action Cam. Kilgoon, walk us through it.
Yeah, TLDR is that the first Action Cam was kind of an in-between, which we thought didn't go far enough to actually run the experiment of would more players be interested in sticking around to see the magic of Smite if the game felt a little bit more familiar to them on their first impression. Because one of the things that's really weird about Smite, and no other game does this. Some people are like, oh yeah, lots of other games do this. No other game does this. I've done a lot of research. Is the way that you aim in Smite and the way that you control your character, your aim is your ground targeter, and where you're shooting is a line in front of your character, right? This is not the way any other game works. And it's worked for Smite through all the years, but it takes a little while to get used to that and to break your brain around it if you're used to playing other third-person action games. So we wanted to test, what does the game feel like to people if we change how this works to where it's more like other third-person action games? And the big change there is that where you are looking is where you are shooting. The center of your screen is always where you're shooting. So we're running this as a test. We may make further changes to this camera over time. We already actually zoomed it out a little bit from when we showed it on Wednesday. Not a ton, but a little bit further back. And I think there's maybe further tweaks that we make over time. But basically the core question is, if we make aiming feel more the way players but most new players expect it to feel as a third-person shooter action game, then will they like the game better, right? So we're running the test. The one weird thing, if you see people doing this, is that because where you look is where you're shooting, you can shoot up or down. So you can theoretically miss a shot by shooting too high or too low. What we have found in our testing has been most people, it's like you're playing a shooter, right? How often are you just aiming randomly into the sky if you're trying to shoot somebody in Fortnite, right? It's not that, right? So it's very rare that somebody is intentionally just going to be shooting over your head or whatever, right? And the other thing that is a little bit weird, which we do know, is that while you're leaping, you are still invulnerable, right? We aren't changing the core rules of Smite here, especially just for what is a test, right? So there is a little bit of cognitive dissonance there for some players where the first time you see somebody jumping, you might try and shoot at him and be like, why can't I hit him? But other than that, we think it's a really good experiment, and we want to run the experiment to see, does it make a difference? Yeah. If it doesn't make a difference, it'll go away.
Yeah.
if it does make a difference, it'll stick around and we'll continue to improve it, right? But we needed to make this big of an experiment to understand the answer to the question.
Sweet. And then last up under Quickplay, there's only going to be Quickplay Arena in Open Beta 13. Quickplay Joust and Quickplay Conquest are planned to come at a later date.
Yeah, Quickplay Joust, I believe, will be next.
Cool.
And then Quickplay Arena after that. Or Quickplay Conquest after that.
Nice. All right, base arena. Let's talk about the Siege Minotaurs.
Yeah.
They will now spawn for both teams at the same time every 3 minutes. Previously, one would spawn for the team each time they reached 10 kills. So this is another experiment that we're trying out with Arena, just to kind of see if we can make the Minotaurs more of a moment, right? And make them more predictable and expectable, and kind of center team fights more in the middle of the arena when both the Minotaurs spawn.
Yeah, and also like I think it also in our playtest so far, it also prevents like turtling a little bit, because every 3 minutes there are going to be Minotaurs, right? And there is a reason why you kind of have to fight every 3 minutes, or at least you have to kill something, even if both teams are like, no, we'll just let the Minotaurs run by and we'll fight them on our own turn. But most people don't do that. It just gives a little bit more reason for engagement. And this is another test. We can always go back to the every 10 kills, but this will be everywhere. This will be not just in Quickplay.
Yeah. All right. Conquest, we talked about it on our Wednesday show, but the side teleporters will now start disabled and will activate at the 10-minute mark.
Yep.
So that is it for our game mode section. Let's talk about God balance, shall we?
Yep.
Pretty much all of this is the same since our last show on Wednesday. Again, we have the hotfix recap for everything that's gone live in Open Beta 12 so far, in between main patches, just for people that may have missed those notes on social media and Steam. But for stuff coming in Open Beta 13, Agni's getting a shift. There are going to be some buffs for Achilles, Bellona, Cerberus, Danzaburo, and Geb, as well as Hercules, Hua Mulan, Kukulkan, and Nemesis. But one thing that we did not talk about, but we did hint at, Scylla's Aspect is also going to be getting a buff in the main patch whenever that goes live on Tuesday. So Aspect of the Devourer. So her passive Quick Learner, you now maintain proportional current mana when leveling up. There were cases to where you get into like sticky situations that felt really bad if you were like max mana and you at level 4 and then you hit level 5 and you can't ult because you get that mana from leveling up. So you're going to maintain proportional current mana when you level up with the Aspect. You now benefit from base and item mana regen. You still can't gain mana from other sources like the fountain or item mana heals. We've also increased the max mana gain on enemy god hit from 1% to 2%. And then last but not least for Aspect Scylla, we've removed the cooldown on I Am a Monster. So if you are really good at getting those ability hits and stacking full mana, and you can do that before 90 seconds, you can get quicker ults, which is going to be good. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on Scylla, but these are going to be some buffs for her Aspect going live in the main patch.
Yep.
So,
and we'll, we've run a few playtests. I think we'll see how it goes, right? It's a different thing than we've ever done before, so it might take a little more tweaking, but I think it's an interesting idea at least.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And then I believe item balance is the exact same. We didn't have any other additions for item balance. So again, this is all the things that were hot fixed in Open Beta 12. But for main patch on July 1st, we've got some buffs to Berserker Shield, Contagion, Genji's Guard, Gladiator Shield, Lifebinder, Runeforged, and Shogun's Afuda. And last but not least, for our update notes overview, just a couple bug fixes we wanted to call out. Nuwa Minion Dash VFX should no longer linger indefinitely. And then we also fixed some God's Footsteps VFX from not spawning after their first death. So just polishing those up. But lots of stuff in Open Beta 13 that players can look forward to. Lots of quality of life changes. I'm super excited to see people who give Quickplay a shot and hop in.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to hearing
feedback.
the feedback on that.
Like, I think most players are not going to most current players who are watching this show are probably not going to like the new action cam. But again, if you try it, let us know what you think about it, right? Very curious to see feedback. I think mostly we're concerned about like new player feedback on the action cam in particular, because if you're already playing Smite, you like the way it plays. But curious for any feedback that we have on anything. Love to hear how you feel about dodge and the quick pick 3 item building and all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff in this patch.
Sweet. Well, that is everything that I had for Open Beta 13. Kilgoon, I think it's time to talk about, something that's really cool that we've been working on in the background, right?
Yeah, this is something that we've had cooking for a few months here. I don't even know, maybe like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, about 3 months.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about it? Do you want me to talk about it? You've been talking with them more.
Yeah, I know, right? I think the TLDR is like, over the past few years, there's been a resource out in the community that just hasn't felt the best. And I'm talking about the SMITE Wiki. So we've been working with an external partner called Weird Gloop, who are just like wiki experts. And they've actually helped other games and other studios, officially host their wiki on their own website. So yeah. Over the past few months, we've been working with them and a couple of really great community wiki admins. I definitely want to shout them out before we get into it. Just huge shout outs to Malvodian and Naruto345DE. They've been working really closely with us and the folks at Weird Gloop to just really help us get this new wiki off the ground. It's been really cool.
Yeah, and these Weird Gloop guys are like from the moment you talk to them, you're like, oh, these guys are wiki guys. Like one of the guys has like over 1,000 edits, or maybe like 10,000. I don't know, some crazy number of edits himself on the RuneScape wiki, and that's where they all started. They started as like the RuneScape wiki guys, and then since then they've helped a lot of games make their own wikis that are run by like them plus us kind of run it together, and they aren't full of ads, so the site's hard to use. They're hosted on our servers, so it's going to be a pretty good performance. Hosted on Weird Gloop servers, it's going to be pretty good performance. Like they do the Warframe wiki, the Minecraft wiki, the League of Legends wiki.
They just launched Vampire Survivors, like lots of really established games with just the games like kind of like us with just like a breadth of broad information that is really hard to have all in one place. Like they've done a really great job at, making sure there's a central place for a community to go in and not only find the information, but make it really easy to contribute to the community and add information as well. So,
So do you want to pull it up?
So it is live right now. If you all go to wiki.smite2.com, this is our all new official wiki, and it is looking really great. Again, the team has been working over the past 3 or 4 months, and this is kind of our starting point for launch. So as I click through, there's going to be some things missing, but as is the nature of the wiki, it's community driven, community contributed. So we're super excited to launch this new community resource. It's going to be really awesome. Like even looking, we've got patch notes here. I can click into gods and see all the info for god abilities. We've got things like aspects and skins, all ad-free, working really well on mobile. I spent a lot of time this morning just scrolling through on my phone. That was one of the things with the past wiki. It's just on mobile, it was just so hard to go through and find information, but it works really well on mobile.
Yeah, and we I think that like this is nothing against the old wiki. Like I think the old wiki just kind of built up as a Smite 1 wiki, and then the transition to Smite 2, it was
really hard. We ran into a situation to where like there were multiple god pages and they weren't like, it was hard to find.
Yeah. So whereas this now is this is focused only on Smite 2.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I really do want to say at the very top of this right here, it says, join the Wiki Discord. You know, if you want to help, Wiki, the good thing about wikis is they're community driven, right? So if you see something and you want to change it, you want to be a part of this community, like do it. You know, I think that there's a great opportunity for more people to help. There's already 116,000 pages. I don't know what that is, but there's a lot of stuff on the wiki already. But there's definitely a lot of room to go. So we just wanted to, generally from talking to the Weird Gloop guys, best to announce a wiki when it's like not like everything's ready, guys, and then try and see who in the community is interested in taking part in this. So
yeah, it's super cool. And like 116,000 pages, and we've gotten this far with just the Weird Gloop folks and a couple of community admins. So we're super excited to open it up for the larger community to get involved. And like Kilgoon said, we're going to have a hub in the official Smite 2 Discord that's dedicated to the wiki. So if you want to get involved, right after the show, there's going to be a new channel that gets populated for you to hop in and start talking with, some of the weird gloop folks. I'll be in that channel as well. Some of the current community wiki admins will be in that chat as well to help onboard anybody. But we've already got some cool stuff in the works. The weird gloop folks linked me a nice page with some of the starter projects that we're looking to get improved over the next week or so as we launch this wiki. So I'm super excited because I know even internally, we were talking before the show, we use the wiki so much on the internal side, but being able to have a new one that's super smooth and runs really well and dedicated to Smite 2 is just a really awesome opportunity for us.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. And really appreciate the Weird Gloop guys. Been awesome to work with, and the community editors that you have already called out.
Yeah.
So, and then, there's just a lot of really cool stuff in here. If you click around, I think it's really easy to work with. I think. And I think just like the straightforwardness of it is just really nice. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it, but it's really great.
Sweet. So yeah, be on the lookout for, we're going to have an official announcement go out on social media right after the show. Join up in the official Discord and keep an eye out for that wiki channel that gets created if you want to get involved. And again, shout out to the folks over at Weird Gloop and our community wiki admins who've been helping us get to this stage. So I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. It's been a big project,
yeah.
But really, really excited about the future of the Smite 2 wiki.
Again, and then that is wiki.smite2.com. So if you want to check it out, it is live now for you to hop in and start browsing through. But that is everything that I had on my to-do list in terms of order of operations and business today. Kilgoon, shall we just hop into community Q&A?
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of opportunity for that.
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Let's hop into it. Chat, what do you want to talk about? Any questions about Open Beta 13? Any bugs in Open Beta 12 that you're encountering? Any feedback on anything? We're chilling for the next 20-ish minutes to answer questions.
Yeah. Are there any readable patch notes? Are those on the website? Are you going to post those soon? Okay.
Yeah, patch notes for Open Beta 13 are live now on smite2.com.
Is there going to be a way to keep the action camera how it is right now, or does it just go away? The current version of the action camera is just going to go away. We're going to keep experimenting and seeing what the best path forward is, but this is the next version, and we'll kind of keep going from here.
Is the wiki available now? Yes, it is. I see. Shout out to the mods. They've already got a command in chat. Wiki.smite2.com. See, where do we put our feedback for Quickplay? So if you're hopping into Quickplay, you can send us your feedback in the official Discord. There's a dedicated feedback forum in the Discord server for Smite 2, and we look at all that stuff. So if you're hopping into Quickplay when it comes out on Tuesday, drop us your feedback and let us know what you think.
Do teleporter skins work in Assault? I'm 99% sure
they should work. Yeah.
If chat tells us they don't, then I'll take a look at that right now. Are there streamers we have open conversations with, or do we just let them have freedom to say whatever, whenever? I would say we're pretty hands-off with Smite streamers if they do what they do, and we don't feel like it's our place to tell them what to do or say, right? Like, we
are in contact with a lot of content creators and streamers via the ambassador program.
Yeah.
Though, and we talk with them regularly.
Yeah, I would say that like we're in contact with a lot of streamers, but we aren't
we're not forcing them to say something.
No, the only time we ever actually have to reach out to somebody is that if a line of terms of service is crossed with something they do, sometime we might be like, hey, maybe reining in a little bit. But other than that, we're pretty loose with people.
I think it's really important for us to kind of be hands off. It's I don't want to force ourselves onto content creators, especially when it comes to feedback. Yeah. If they're not happy with something,
let us know.
Yeah, we want to know about it so we can fix it. Yeah.
This is not this is a very old meme. But that the Iraqi information minister, do you remember that? Mm-hmm. It was just we aren't trying to pretend we're something we're not, right? We're trying to get good feedback so that we can keep making the game better.
Why is an auto hit ability getting crit synergy? Shouldn't crit reward skill shots of some kind? I'm assuming you're referring to the Nuwa aspect.
Yeah. I think that crit is rewarding random chance. Is what crit is rewarding, right? Crit is I have rolled a number and I do more damage. So I don't think it is rewarding any skill particularly. I do think that like crit is a stat, and we're experimenting with letting different things scale off of different stats and be affected by different stats in Smite 2. It's kind of part of what we're doing. That said, I think that we got the feedback that it was doing too much on PTS, and that is part of what we're looking at in terms of balance before the aspect actually goes out. But I think like we're not opposed to the idea of letting the alt crit in a basic attack focused aspect that changes everything to be more basic attack scaling, right? It's similarly to like in this patch, Mercury's 1 can crit.
Yep.
You know, it's an ability and it can crit. Why? Because that's what it does, right? So we're open to handling things differently.
Don't you think Quickplay is a misleading name for new players? You should call it Rapid Arena or something. I think Quickplay is pretty spot on, and I think the goal is, you know, Quickplay isn't the name of like the actual arena mode. It's just like an umbrella for
the queue.
Because
we're like the category of queues, I guess I would say. Yeah.
Because, you know, we talked about it. We're working on Quickplay Joust in Conquest as well.
Mm-hmm. OB13 action cam is bugged using Izanami. Yeah, we are looking at that. There was a couple specific action cam break cases that we are looking at fixing right now.
Will there be assault ranked? I think the nature of the mode just automatically leans it to not be ranked, right? Because like
it's so like it's
kind of a
random mode by default. Yeah, I don't know if it's a queue that we would want to split the population for. I don't know how many people would want that. It might be something that we could run like a, you know, like a limited time thing at some point. But does any game that has like an equivalent mode have a ranked version of it? I don't think so. I might be wrong. And that's not saying that we only do what other games do, but just like I usually someone in the world has tried this, and I'm just curious, has anybody else tried this, and is it, you know, a successful thing for them or not?
If a player aims their basic attack a little upwards in action cam, I'm assuming, is it losing a tiny bit of horizontal distance?
I believe so. I believe that your projectile has like a distance that it travels before it expires, and if you're aiming upwards, then it's not going to go quite as far.
Cool. Are we concerned about splitting the player base further by adding new queues like quick play variants of modes?
Not at the moment, but it could be something that we're concerned about in the future. I think that like because of the nature of what we're trying to achieve here, we feel like the data that we're getting from it, especially since it's, you know, it's met a lot as a new player mode. So it shouldn't affect like higher level player queues very much. You know, we'll see how it goes though. We're keeping a close eye on it. Oh, does this open beta have new announcer packs? It does have new announcer packs. I don't have the list.
Yeah,
for
I
what
need to
all's
get
in
the
it.
list from Kellen, and we can add it to update notes. I believe we've got. I saw Tina tweet. No Tac Tina is in this update.
Yep.
I think she got a screenshot from PTS. I believe we've got some of the creator announcer packs in there as well. I believe Lore Lady is in this round as well. But we'll get the full list and get that put in patch notes whenever I can get it from Kellen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, somebody's already got a quick list. Smite Games got out.
Will gods that feature on the new queue screen have a greater chance of arriving soon, or at least before release? Are you worried it might confuse new players if they see someone not in the game? I would say not necessarily. I think it's like we liked the art to represent what it was, and I think that it helps convey the feel and the fantasy of Smite and of gods fighting, even if they aren't necessarily ones that are in game. We've done art in the past that has been included figures that aren't in the game, right? Like this is just the first example that comes to my head, but like Agamo, was in some of the art, not in the game, right? I think that like if we're depicting mythological characters that are, somehow in the Smite universe, I think it still works in our mind. I need to look and make sure that we have the worshippers bug fixed.
I know it's at least talked about internally. I'm not sure if it's being like tracked or if there's a fix in open beta 13 or not.
Okay. Let's see. Make a note on that.
Can we please add the you have an invite window when the game is minimized?
Maybe. I'll make a note.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Let's see here. Let's see. Are you planning on fixing the player rage quit issue? Example, adding in an option for someone else to take their spot or filling the game if they quit.
That's tough in a game like ours because you're not just joining into a game that is in progress. You are joining into a game that is in progress on a character that you may or may not be comfortable with, but that you can't change, and you have to live with the player's past performance, right? If someone goes, this is just an example, right? If somebody goes 0-8 and quits and, has a horrible build and is also down 10,000 gold, you aren't going to want to jump onto that character and keep playing, right? So I think that that's not a good experience for players. I will say, like, we will, consider, like, we're definitely aware that, like, there are some ELO brackets where this is more of an issue than others. But we, I don't have a firm answer for you right now as to, like, what we're doing on it. But we are keeping our eye on it. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Would a dynamic teleport skin be possible that swaps between chaos and order theming based on your team?
That could be cool.
It's a good idea for the art team. Hunbot's Ascension Pass overhand smash tracker. He doesn't debuff anymore, so it doesn't track. Interesting.
We'll take a note.
Yeah, take a look at that one. Action figure Baron skin with coffin as the packaging. You're welcome. We'll buy. That's funny. Historically, toy skins have not sold super well, but like the plushie, the ones have. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there that we could work with. That's a funny idea, though. I like it.
Is it possible to fix the new Mercury's card art? He still has his Smite 1 helmet. I can take a note and talk to Ben about it and have him take a look.
Any API updates? And will the Wiki use it? I don't know if the Wiki's planning to use it at all.
I'm not sure.
I do need to follow up on the API stuff. I had a path forward, but I haven't heard anything in a little while. So I will keep asking.
Let's see.
We should check and make sure that we actually are giving out free God tokens
Past 50?
Past 50. Yeah, that's that would be a mistake if that's not working right now.
Got it noted.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're still aware of the Ymir Ultimate issue. I know it's been tracked internally, and I think we found a repro. I'm just not sure on
I think
how
it's
long
been
it's going to take.
A little bit hard to
Yeah.
get 100% repro on it. It seems like it happens most often when you're kind of like spamming the button.
Yeah.
So try and be a little more intentional about it in the short term as we still look into like how we permafix it. Text chat for console. We're still waiting to go through a full certification pass, which is what's required to add that. Basically, it'll mean we can't do anything to the game for probably at least 2 weeks. So we're just trying to find the right moment to do that. It's something we definitely want to do.
Will some passives ever get god interactions together and get revisited? Kind of like Horus and Set. Some examples, Baron and Mammon or Horus and Set.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Maybe in the future, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we try not to make things that are like they only work together or they work so much better together that it's bad to not, use these two gods together. But I think like fun, small things are definitely in the realm of reason.
Yeah. Let's see. Due to the difficulties tied with making Hindu gods, have you ever considered just replacing them, kind of like what we did for Ao Kuang to Cuckoo? I don't think so.
No, I don't think we've had that discussion. I think that by and large, we've gotten more and more positive feedback about it over time because we do try and make sure we like over-index on treating those gods 100% faithfully and authentically in a way that is, not going to be offensive to that community.
We bring in consultants to help us out. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've also we've started to get more and more feedback from people who are Hindu who are excited to see, the gods represented in the game, right? I think that, there's always going to be some people who are upset about it, but I think it's much smaller than it used to be, and it's not as big of an issue. There's still some platforms that we can't advertise as much when we're doing a new Hindu god, but that really doesn't affect us too much right now. Give Bacchus double damage and healing on Baron's Brew. I like the synergy. That's fun.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Jungle Bacchus in our playtest today. Clumsy.
Y'all had a banger playtest. Yeah.
it was like a 50-minute game. And
oh my gosh.
Fridays are like casual Friday playtest for us. So we normally we split up into two different voice chat channels for the two teams. But on Fridays we're all in the same channel and it's a little more fun and goofy games. A lot of W keying and fighting.
Exactly.
But it was a very fun game, and Clumsy's Bacchus jungle aspect did quite a bit of work. Can we update the background on PS5? When you hover over the app, it's still showing Kali. Yeah, this was something that we were really good about changing for a while. I was actually the person who made all of the art sizes to do this. And it takes like an hour or two each week or every 2 weeks to do this. And when my job changed, I have found it harder to carve out the time to do this. So we need to get back to doing this. I just have to either find time to get back to my graphic designing or get somebody else who has an hour or two every 2 weeks to make all the different sizes, because there's a lot of different sizes you actually have to update in order to be able to update it. So. Will Wukong have an aspect when he comes out? I can say that we are testing an aspect, but we aren't sure if it's something that we're going to ship. A lot of times we will have an idea and we'll test it and it doesn't really work out in the same way that like Barron's didn't. So Barron didn't have one for a long time.
Yeah.
After I erroneously said that I thought it was close and it wasn't. So he definitely could if the testing goes in the right way. But I think we're kind of on the fence about the current aspect right now. So I'd say it's 50-50.
Are there any plans for adding level progression bonuses for going past 50? We're gonna look into the God tokens because those should be getting granted past level 50. But if they're not, that's a mistake.
Yeah, and to be clear, it should be only if you have a founders pack, you are supposed to only get the diamonds up to actually it's 51 because you're supposed to get 50 levels of it and you don't get it at level 1. But you're supposed to get to 51. But you should keep getting God tokens. So we'll need to take a look at that. I just got into Magic the Gathering. We need a SMITE crossover. Well, in SMITE 1, we had a crossover. They were good skins.
Yeah.
They didn't sell as well as I thought they would, but they were
really good skins.
They did okay. Like it wasn't like some of them some did amazingly well and some of them did like okay and some of them did like not so great, right? And I would say it was on the realm of like good, but just not like incredible. I thought it was going to be incredible based on the data that we had about how many of our players really like Magic and all that, but didn't do quite as well as we thought it was going to. Can we have announcer packs for different languages? I don't know if those are on the announcer pack
I'm not sure if
list.
those are on the list or not. I can check with Blake and Kellen to see.
No teasers for the next Travelers Market. That's a little bit further out. I like the RuneScape skins. Yeah, those were really good.
Any fix on aspects being turned on without us turning them on? We've gotten a lot of feedback about them just being like auto toggled whenever you hit the lobby and stuff like that. I know the team has been looking into that.
Yeah, I know that like if you have it enabled on the God page, then it should be enabled. But I think some people can get into a weird state where it isn't respecting that, and we're still looking into that. Swap Erlang and Sun Wukong's 72 transformations as aspects. That is a funny idea. Will we add rewards for God Mastery past rank 10? Maybe eventually, but not anytime soon. One of the things that we saw over the years actually was that like, I don't know if y'all remember when we added like prestige levels to the end of our battle passes in SMITE 1, where we didn't remove anything from the first 60 levels or whatever. We didn't make it harder to do those first 60 levels. We just added a couple extra levels to the end that had more rewards in them. And this was universally negatively received, that we were making it harder and people felt like they weren't getting their value out of the thing because they couldn't finish it. So there's something to like rewards being all earnable and something being completable that people like. And the other thing is that like going past rank 10, your first star takes as much experience as it takes to get to rank 10. So it's like double the work for each star. So it just was like, we had talked a lot about this actually when we made the Ascension Pass system. We just felt like it was we just felt like it wasn't going to feel good to players to be like, oh, I just have to keep grinding this god forever. Like it would feel more like I have to do this versus cool, I get this extra thing when I do this, which is, it's a weird psychological thing, but it was just the way that we felt.
How do you feel about where hybrid scaling is at as a whole with gods and items?
Oh, I'm not the person to answer that question. I like it, but I don't know, like from a balance, design standpoint, if they're pleased with everything. So that's as much of an answer as I can give you. Can we get a return to character select screen once we lock in a god? There's a button. It just doesn't work. Yeah, this is something that's on our to-do list. There's quite a few lobby improvements that we want to make. One of the other things that we want to change about the way the lobby works is right now, like you click on a god and it instantly takes you to like, I have selected this god, now start picking a skin, right? And you're not locked in yet. But then you have to go back to look at more gods. And what we actually want to do is we want to change it to where you actually aren't going to see as many gods at once, but it'll be easier to click back and forth between them without going to the next screen and see what the gods are and what they do, and get more of like a, do I want this? You know, like just kind of look at them before you pick. And then once you lock, then see the skins that you can pick. So it's a slightly different flow, but we think it's going to be better for players. So sometime soon, as part of a number of lobby improvements, I think that we will get the ability to go back to the character select screen after locking in.
Cool. Well, we are at 2 p.m., so it is time for one more question. And it's Friday, so let's choose a couple fun ones.
Okay,
and double Alani check. For those that missed it at the top of the show, I've got Orange Kiss. Kilgoon, unfortunately, we ran out of Alani's.
No Alani's. I went to try and get one if you missed it. Very sad.
Sweet. So we will take a couple questions and then head out for the weekend.
Yeah. I like this. This is an interesting question. Fun question for a fun Friday.
Nice.
Are there plans to add more mechanics like dodge depending on the role? For example, a block or a parry for solo that only works against basic attacks, or a battle cry buff for support maybe. I think that there's potentially a lot of things that we could do that are, you know, in the realm of dodge. I think that one of the things that we do like about dodge right now is that it's symmetrical, where it's like if somebody dodges away from me, I can dodge after them, right? And it's not like, I think one of the issues that I personally had with Combat Blink, I don't know if all the designers felt this way, was that like if both players had Combat Blink, it felt pretty good. If one player had it and one player didn't, then it was like, oh, the person blinked away.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I got blinked on and I can't do anything about it, right? So I think that it's like one of those things where most games that allow you to have that kind of movement, everybody just has it, or either they have it by default or essentially 99% of players pick it because you need to have it symmetrically. So I think that's, you know, I like the symmetricality of the current dodge implementation, but I would like the idea of being able to add a little more class-specific variety. And I think that like that's also something to think about on the like we're making basic attacks faster in this mode in Quickplay, about as fast as Griffin Wing Earring is what we've been saying, and I think that's about right. But there is no commensurate buff for melee users, right? So for us to actually like put that live into the game is just going to be like a big boon for ranged attack users for, you know, in like competitive conquest, right? And if you're a really good hunter, you're just gonna be able to abuse that. Yeah. So like we would probably need to think about like what could melee users have that's different, but that gives them some corresponding level of advantage, right? So I think that there's a lot of interesting ideas that come out of Quickplay and that will be going into Quickplay. And I'm just kind of excited to see how it evolves because I think there are a lot of opportunities for us to, like I said, just try crazy things, right? Like I've seen all the, you know, the feedback, I will say, regarding Action Cam, right? And a lot of people are really concerned about it. And they're like, dude, this is crazy. It's too far, you know? But we want to take a couple risks and chances and learn some things, right? And if we just do exactly what we're doing right now, we know what that looks like, right? But the potential to really grow and change our destiny requires doing some experiments. And I think that that's it's a good path for us.
Yeah. So I need to choose one. Let's see here. Here's a fun one. If you wanted yourself as any god skin, what would it be?
I would probably be Kronos. I play a lot of Kronos. Either that or just me sitting on top of Grover, you know, throwing.
I was going to say, just make me Teferi from Magic the Gathering.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Also, Ragnarok Force X Thor. Just give me a Gundam.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I could just call it down and be a Gundam. It'd be sick. Sweet. Chat, well, thanks so much for hanging out with us this Friday on Titan Talk. We will be back on Monday for another episode of the show. No update on Monday, but the next update will go live next Tuesday, the day after our next show. In the meantime, if you haven't, head over to wiki.smite2.com. Check out our all-new official wiki. Keep an eye out on our social media channels. We'll have a larger announcement that goes out with some more information and more steps on how to get involved if you want to start contributing to the new wiki. But until then, I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will be back on Monday. Peace.